Edison duelists. Today I've got quite the surprise for you. James, of course, the other guy who's normally here is going to be playing a cash tournament money match against user Roghnach. And I think that James has told me in advance he plans on using the super ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanth deck, which many of you will know as the Fish OTK deck. This deck is sweet. James, one of the best players with the Fish OTK deck. He's going to showcase some very sick stuff. I'm certain of it. But first things first, before they get started on their round, while we wait here, if you guys like this kind of content, go ahead and like and subscribe. You've been killing it with that lately. I really appreciate a lot of the support. We're almost at 100 subs, which is blowing my mind. We got something super special planned for 100 subscribers. So I can't wait to share that with you guys. Also, this weekend, March 21st, there is an Edison format tournament on the FL Discord. Now, there's going to be a link inviting you to that Discord, but it'd be really cool to see a lot of new players enter that tournament this weekend. So don't forget to join us for that. Let's see if they have started their game yet. No, not yet. We might be waiting here a little while. Might need to do a little editing. Just kidding. We don't edit shit on this channel. All raw. All straight up. You know the vibe? Oh my. They just messaged me, asked me if I'm recording. Yes, of course I'm recording. I'm recording. Bruh. Anyway, join the Discord. Get friendly with us. Always liking to see that sort of thing. Another thing is, do message us your replays. We're starting to do more of the replay review video. A lot of people said they like that. So if you've got cool Edison format replays, go ahead and send us a replay. The game's getting started. Let's check it out. Roghnach won the rock, paper, scissors. He's got Substitute. Roghnach on his signature Frog Synchro deck. Let's check out what he's got going on here. He goes Substitute into Swap Frog into Treeborn Frog, classic turn 1 play. Let's see how much value he can accumulate off that. James starting things off with a Moray of Greed, revealing straight off the bat that he's playing the Fish OTK deck. Shuffles back a couple of mediocre draws, honestly. You don't really want to be drawing the Oystermeister and the Royal Swamp Eel in the Fish deck, but thankfully you have the really powerful Moray of Greed to shuffle them back. James probably going to take a little while. As we've mentioned before on this channel, your first turn is really, really important to get right. Getting your opening started a certain way is going to set the sort of pace for the rest of the game. Also, it is the turn where you have the most decisions to make because you have the most amount of cards in your hand. You can choose how you want to do things, how you don't want to do things. You usually have like upwards 6-7 different plays just on the first play alone. So getting the sequencing right here is pretty important. Gold Sarcophagus is a common card in the Fish deck because it can normally search for Cold Wave or Trunade, and that can kind of guarantee you an OTK. Another reason that it's good is it can also search for the Deep Sea King Coelacanth. James opts to search for Heavy Storm here, which is a bit of a matchup knowledge sort of deal. James knows that Roghnach does play trap cards in their deck. James is down a bit here, though. The Gold Sarcophagus does put you down a card, something to keep in mind for sure. So James is essentially down a couple cards, and the Caius on the Fish board, not the best. It's not the worst. It's not the worst because you do play, I believe, 2 or 3 copies of Fishborg Blaster, and you can still combo with them. But losing 1 copy, it's not ideal. You'd rather not get your stuff banished with the Fish deck. If we're going to see another Caius here from Roghnach, Roghnach also has the ability to use Swap Frog to return the Caius. I was wondering if he was going to special the Swap Frog, return the Caius, and then get another value out of the effect. But he opts to go for the more conservative play, which is attack with Swap Frog first. if he had the ability to... Oh, that's really interesting. Texas Swap Frog does take battle damage, but Trigodia allows you to special summon it when you do take battle damage, which is good. And it's going to put in 3,000 points of pain on James. James looking pretty down this game. A Battle Fader there would have been nice, but maybe we'll see a Battle Fader on one of the following turns. This is very dangerous. If James ever does drop below 1,000, that Caius can come down, banish itself, and deal the last few points of damage. James does get his Heavy Storm this turn. Meaning, if James has the ability to go for the OTK this turn, I think he kind of has to do it. Thankfully for him, Trigodia is strong. It has a lot of attack points, so he doesn't have to double Armory Colossal, which I think you need 2 Fishborgs for. I could be wrong about that, though. Trigodia does have the 3,000 attack points. If this back row can discard a card from the hand, maybe it makes this kill a little different. I actually don't know if James can kill here, though. If he doesn't have a Coelacanth or ways to generate 2 tributes, it's going to be tough. Karma Cut's a really interesting card. I think this card is quite strong. Quite good, especially in this Frog deck, because your discards are often not that big of a deal. I think Roghnach is playing Salvage from the few times that I've played against him. And so Karma Cut discard is often mitigated by Salvage and, you know, just like general Treeborn Frog type stuff. James using his extra normal summon to normal summon Dupe Frog here, which means he still has his normal summon. I believe he can still normal summon Coelacanth, because when you return Swap Frog, you get an extra normal summon of a frog. You can use that extra normal summon of the frog up front, and then save your regular normal summon later on. A very advanced sequence here from James. Really cool. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though, because he's got... Even Coelacanth discard, does that work? Let's see. Because he's got to have... I think drawing the Swamp Eel kind of screwed him. If he had Swamp Eel and Metabo Shark in deck, he could use that to make the Colossal, and then Oyster, Fishborg makes the Armory Arm. However, here, I don't think... Now, unless James is playing the 3rd Fishborg Blaster, which I don't think he is, I think he's only playing 2, he can't Armory Arm OTK here. Okay, Pot of Avarice. Pot of Avarice is a good one. Pot of Avarice is a good one. That puts the Royal Swamp Eel back, and provided he doesn't draw it, he should be fine. As also provided his last card is Coelacanth. If he doesn't have a Coelacanth here, he's obviously just dead. Yep, so his last card was Coelacanth. For those of you who don't know how this card works, you send a card from your hand to the graveyard, special summon as many level 4 or lower fish-type monsters from your deck. Generally use this to make a kill combination of Synchros. Let's see if his last card here is the Metabo Shark or Royal Swamp Eel. That might complicate things a little bit. Although I don't think it does, because I do believe Oystermeister, Fishborg Blaster, and Coelacanth is really all you need in order to OTK. This was a really close game. I think if Roghnach had gotten even one more turn, he could have clutched this out over James. That would have been really interesting to see. I think one of the deciding factors actually was not reusing the Caius main phase. Now, I don't know Rognach's hand. I don't know if he had another water monster. But if he pitches to special swap Frog, right? Sacrifices his Treeborn for the Caius, again, banishing the other monster. Now, James can't search for a Swap Frog off his Dupe Frog, right? When it dies, James is pretty much out of the game. And then you also get to keep your Trag in hand for defense. And I don't know. I think that Roghnach could have could have definitely taken that game if he had sequenced that last turn a little bit differently. That just goes to show how skill intensive and how important it is to not mess up these like slight micro decisions in these plays. Going into game 2, I think James he's got Vanity's Fiends, And I've got to imagine Roghnach also has Vanity's Fiends. If he doesn't, then he's probably got something like Soul Release. He's probably got something like DD Crow to try and combat the graveyard part of this deck, which is like the Frog Engine Avarice sort of deal. But I don't know if he has much to really, really interact with the Coelacanth side of things. Besides, Karma Cut is a great tool. I think it's a really great tool, especially in like these sort of frog-type mirrors. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. There's an interesting additional effect on Deep Sea King Coelacanth that you can tribute a monster to negate a targeting effect. So there are ways you can play around cards like Karma Cut by leaving a body in play when you go for the Coelacanth play, sort of deal. And then having that tribute to protect yourself from targeting effects like Karma Cut. Now, it would be really interesting if Roghnach had something like Hanawata here. We covered this in another video, another Money Match video, where James played against Carl. And Carl happened to have Hanawata to deflect the sort of Armory Arm burn damage OTK. That would be an interesting card to see. I'm not really sure how this is going to play out, though. I also think that Dark Dust Spirit is one of the best cards for this sort of matchup, right? Dark Dust Spirit doesn't stay in place, so you can't put an Armory Arm on it, right? You can't get combo killed with it. And Dark Dust Spirit coming down is constantly clearing opposing dupe frogs and letting you pressure the opponent every single turn. It'll kill them, kill their creatures, you attack for 2200, maybe they have a Fader, maybe they have a Gorz. Okay, next turn, you play it again, and you just keep spamming it till you win. Dark Dust Spirit, huge mirror breaker in these sort of frog tribute monster type decks. Now I wonder if either of them has prepared or over-prepared, and we'll see if that comes into play. I know James probably left in some number of Heavy Storm and Giant Tornado after seeing the Karma Cut. I'm just wondering how much of that effect he wants, or if that effect is sort of, win more. He probably left in all of them, honestly. Now, James making the same play that Roghnach made last game, which was Substitute, Swap Frog, send Treeborn, and Roghnach also made that play this turn, or this game as well. Deep Sea Diva. This is the biggest difference between, I think, Rognach's deck and your traditional, Frog Monarch deck, is that instead of additional copies of Monarchs, he plays Deep Sea Diva and Mermaid Archer. Mermaid Archer is a cool card. It allows you to equip a level 3 or lower monster to it, and then it sort of has this destruction protection sort of deal, and it goes up to 2000 attack. So it's a 2000 attack monster, can't be destroyed once by card effects. It's pretty good. Well, once per turn, I suppose, even. Deep Sea Diva also goes really well with the sort of salvage stuff that Rognach's got going on. Making Android in defense is a hedge against the Armory Arm OTK, which we witnessed last game. This way, if James were to go for the Coelacanth this turn, he couldn't equip Armory Arm to Magical Android and slam a Colossal into it over and over again because it's in defense position. So it's not going to destroy the Colossal by battle. James is going for the Coelacanth here. I wonder if he has a play through Fader or through Gorz or Tragodia or whatever sort of protection situation that I'm sure he's banking on Roghnach having. This is very interesting. I know that there's definitely a play that can deal 7600 damage, usually involving the card Mistworm, but can it deal that through something like Gorge or Battle Fader? Maybe not though. And these sort of situations is where that Dark Dust Spirit is so clutch, right? You get this big commitment. You get this, I'm going to put my balls on the table, basically. I'm going to make a bunch of synchros, see where that goes. And now this is interesting. James opting to make Catastor, Armory Arm, and Colossal. Quite the interesting play. Oh, there you go. Enemy controller, change the battle position. Armory Arm OTK. Roghnach tried to play around it. got. He had the I believe it's a 1 of enemy controller or 2 of enemy controller to switch the battle position. Intense game. Very, very quick games, actually. You normally don't see games this quick in Edison format, but exciting stuff nonetheless. Congratulations to James for taking those games. If you guys like this kind of thing, don't forget to subscribe. Come check out the tournament this weekend. Peace out, everybody.